All right, let's talk about something we all think about: how to be more memorable. Today, we're diving into a really cool idea called the Spike Method. And trust me, it suggests that the real secret to being interesting is probably the exact opposite of what you've been taught.
So, let me just ask you this straight up. After you leave a party or a meeting, do people remember you? It's a tough question, right? We're all under this constant pressure to make an impression, to stand out. But how do you actually pull that off?
Well, to find the answer, we first have to kind of dismantle a piece of advice we've all heard a million times. I like to call it the well-rounded trap.
Think about it. Since we were kids, we've been told to be well-rounded. Be good at math and history, play a sport and an instrument. But here's the wild idea. What if trying to be good at everything is actually the fastest way to become, well, forgettable?
Okay, so this is where you can really see the problem. On one side, you've got your well-rounded person. They're, good at a lot of stuff, which is fine, but they kind of blend in. It's hard to describe them in a sentence. Now compare that to what's called a spiky person. They're not a jack of all trades. In fact, they might be pretty average at most things, but they are absolutely exceptional at one specific thing. And that makes them pop. They're easy to remember, easy to talk about. Oh, that's Sarah, the one who knows everything about beekeeping.
So, if being well-rounded is the trap, how do you escape? Well, that's where this really powerful strategy comes in. It's called the Spike Method.
So what is the Spike Method exactly? Put simply, it's the idea of intentionally, deliberately going deep on one super specific niche area. It's not about dabbling. It's about going all in on one thing until you become so good at it, you're impossible to ignore.
And the philosophy behind it is simple, but wow, is it demanding. The goal is to be better than 99% of people at one niche thing. It's a super high bar, but that's the whole point. That's why it works. It's about shifting your mindset from being just competent to being a true master in one tiny corner of the world.
Just let that number sink in, 99%. We're not talking top 50%, not even top 10. The real power of a spike comes from how extreme it is. It's the difference between someone who's like, oh, I know a little about wine, and the person who can smell a glass and tell you about the soil composition of that specific vineyard in northern Italy. That's a spike.
And you know what the best part is? Your spike can be anything. I mean it. It could be knowing obscure facts about frogs, or being a ridiculously good cleaner. It doesn't have to be some fancy, useful skill. It just has to be something you can get completely, obsessively good at.
Okay, so let's say you do it. You become the world's foremost expert on, antique doorknobs. But why does that actually make you more interesting to other people? Let's get into the psychology of why this whole thing works.
See, when you have a spike, you're sending out all these subtle signals. For one, it shows you have deep passion and dedication. It also creates this super strong memory hook. People won't forget the doorknob guy. Suddenly, you're the go-to expert on that topic, which is cool. It makes for an amazing conversation starter, way better than talking about the weather. And on a deeper level, it just shows that you're the kind of person who can commit to something and see it through to mastery. And that is an impressive trait no matter what the subject is.
So really, that's what a spike is. It's a powerful social signal. It tells a whole story about who you are and what you're capable of, and it does it without you having to list off your resume. It's basically a shortcut to being fascinating.
All right, this all sounds great in theory, but I can hear you thinking, okay, cool, but how do I actually find my spike? So let's make this super practical.
It's a pretty straightforward 4-step process. Step 1. Brainstorm your curiosities. What are the weird rabbit holes you fall into at 2 a.m.? What do you find yourself Googling just for fun? Step 2. Choose one. Just pick the one that genuinely sparks something in you. Step 3, and this is the big one, commit to hitting that 99% mark. This means you got to read the books, watch the documentaries, practice, and go way, way beyond the surface. And finally, step 4, share it. Don't be a secret expert. Talk about it. Let yourself become known as the Frog Facts person.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's not about finding a useful skill. It's about finding a fascinating one. Because the passion and the energy you bring to something you genuinely love, that's the magic ingredient. That's what makes it, and you, so interesting.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it all really boils down to this one simple idea. What's your superpower? This is the big takeaway. Being interesting isn't about being pretty good at a bunch of things. It's not about being flawless. It is about being truly, deeply, passionately exceptional at something. That's your spike. That's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd.
And that brings us right back to you. We've talked about the trap of being well-rounded and the incredible power of having a spike. So I'll just leave you with this one simple question to think about. What's your spike?